Yo, what's up? What's up? Welcome to another episode of the Seeding Greatness podcast. I'm so excited to bring Michael here with me today. Man, new to my world, and it was one of those people that when you first meet them, you just are in love because you can just feel their character, their integrity, and that he clearly is someone who he says he is. And I felt that instantly from speaking with you, and was like, man, you coming to Nashville? You working with my guy John Mediana? Like, you know, you're my people. So really excited. I want to read to you guys his official bio. And you know how we do it, man. Like, to grab your notes, grab your pens, grab your pencils. If you're driving, obviously don't do that. But listen attentively. Information without application is frustration. And we want you to do something with the seeds of greatness that we're extracting from our guest today. So let me introduce you to Michael King. He's an executive and business leadership coach known for combining high levels of clarity, creativity, and strategy to help leaders scale with confidence and purpose. With nearly 2 decades of experience leading organizations and coaching everyone from solo entrepreneurs to Fortune 500 executives, Michael transforms vision into momentum through clear, simple, and effective solutions. He holds a BS in Humanities and Fine Arts from North Central University, not to be confused with the Central Michigan University. He holds an MS in leadership from Bellevue University and is a certified executive coach. In 2024, he was honored with both the Best of Executive Coaches Award, which I hear is from Forbes, and the Innovation in Coaching Award, recognizing his unique ability to fuse strategic thinking with creative insight. Oh, I love that. Outside of coaching, he's a proud husband of 27 years, y'all. Longevity, consistency, communication, God, to his wife, Beth, and a proud dad to 3 amazing kids, Chloe, Amelia, and Emerson, an avid Ducati rider, a diehard Superman fan for some reason, and a fading but hopeful Starbucks loyalist. Y'all welcome Michael King to the podcast. What's up, bro?
I made it. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Yeah. Dude, I'm so stoked to really dive into it. Number one, because I know you're a straight shooter. And so I think leaders, I said this on one of my versions of my demo reel I'm working on, but like number one thing I think leaders lack is self-awareness, in my opinion. You don't have to agree with that, but their assessment over where I feel like like if you ask them, where are you at? It's like their assessment's usually off, right? They got too much on their plate. They're not emotionally, mentally clear enough. And awareness is a really big part for people. And so anyways, straight shooting is kind of like what I want to get into on the podcast with you today is like, just be honest, hard truth. Cause I know that's the type of guy that you are.
Yeah, right on.
So give us a little bit of your backstory. How did you get into the line of work that you're into today?
Well, I grew up in a musician's home,
Okay.
Sioux City, Iowa. And, being the kid of a professional musician, like I figured out early on the creative process, and I loved I knew that I was probably an 8 on the Enneagram by the time that I was 7 or 8 years old. You know, I was figuring out how to create something from nothing early on. Now, into my professional career, I grew up as a professional musician, and I got amazing opportunities within the Christian music industry and in the church world, being an executive pastor. So leading people and leading organizations, it was something that I've been doing for a long time, and mentoring leaders. But after about, I would say probably close to a little bit over 2 decades of being in the church world, I don't know if you've ever had that experience before, but have you ever had that experience where you just felt like you were just in the wrong space, but you didn't necessarily know why? Well, that was probably at least the last decade of my pastoral career. It didn't mean that I didn't love Jesus anymore. It didn't mean that I didn't necessarily love the church, but it was just that feeling of like, man, square peg, round hole. And
what part of it felt like you was missing, if you don't mind me asking?
I think that I was starting to get what they call it, like toxic culture fatigue. And so the organizations that I was a part of and whatnot, there was a lot of complicated dynamics involved with family-run ministries, and me being kind of one of the only outsiders on the team. And so I started to do some things to kind of self-medicate, including education, right? Like I went back to school to get my master's degree in organizational leadership, not because necessarily because I had a vision for what I wanted to become, is because I was trying to figure out whether I was the problem or not.
Really?
Yeah.
Just you got a master's degree to figure out if you were the problem of the organization or not. Number one, kudos to you for checking the speck in your own eye first, for self-assessing as a leader to see where you're the lid. I agree with John Maxwell that everything rises and falls on leadership.
Yeah.
So kudos to you, but a master's degree to assess if you're the problem is a hell of a commitment.
Well, part of that was because I didn't know what the solution was.
Okay.
Working with systems and strategies and structures, it's something that came to me incredibly natural. Have you ever been in those situations where you wake up every day feeling like you know how to do something, but you have no idea why you know how to do it?
Oh, totally.
Right?
I would describe that as a great part of my life.
Absolutely. And that's the way it has been.
Yeah.
That was my role as being an executive pastor. Like, I helped grow our church into becoming one of the top 14 fastest growing churches in the country for 3 years running. And we went from 300 to 3,000, like we were on a light speed space journey. And so I went from being a singer-songwriter on stages talking about like worship music and talking about songs that I've written to now being like, hey, let's talk to Michael because he's the guy that broke the church barrier code for the Midwest. And so now I'm the guy that's talking through that. But when it came to fixing some of the internal toxic dynamics that was happening right on my team, I was hitting a lid, man. I didn't necessarily know. And so that's why I say is like, I want to go back. I want to do some self-reflection. I want to boost my toolbox a bit to see if I'm the problem. And the good news was I found out it was a combination of a lot of different stuff, and maybe that I was the smallest contributor to that equation, which was why I chose to like eventually tap out.
Okay.
And other opportunities started to present themselves, but it was at a massive cost, and it took a massive risk for me to be able to say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and change different environments and get into a different universe right now.
And so I guess for me, I know the system well, so but I'm just for the listeners. I'm just thinking like, I know there's people who we were actually just having this conversation with my wife today. Can't say too much, but there was a gentleman who was seeking counsel from me about leaving a church that he was involved in. And I mean, he was having a really hard time. Like he was drinking and to numb the pain that he was feeling from trying to have this conversation.
Yeah.
And I told my wife after that convo, I was like, man, that's so sad that he feels like I'm the only one he can talk to about this transition that he wants to make from this church that he's involved in. And I was like, man, why does it feel like that? Why do people feel like they can't go to another church or else they're like betraying Jesus or something? Why is that? And so it's just interesting because I know there's a lot of things that just culturally in our Americanized way of viewing church that we just sometimes in our blind spots are inadvertently hurting people or making it challenging for people to actually feel the love and belonging that we say in scripture. But I'm curious for you, what was like, if you could describe it in a phrase or sentence, what was missing from that system that you desperately were yearning for?
Man, that's really complicated. My situation probably isn't much different than a lot of different folks. You know, when we came to Nebraska, I wasn't necessarily looking to land in Nebraska, which, by the way, nobody actually wants to land in Nebraska. But then once you get there, you really fall in love with the people and you fall in love with the place, right? And so for me, like, it was a combination of loneliness. It was a combination of isolation and just some really, like, I would say just some like unorthodox abusive context that caught me by surprise. I wasn't necessarily expecting it, and I didn't necessarily know what to do with it or who to talk to about it once I started experiencing those things. But I think when it comes down to like the idea of like, okay, why don't people talk about this? Well, because it's not safe.
Mm-hmm.
Like your ecosystem for in those roles.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm the executive pastor in one of the country's fastest growing churches in the country, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's not a safe place for me to say, hey, this is what I'm experiencing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, like, transparency is a desire, but if safety isn't made available, then there's no option, especially when your ecosystem is. So think about this, right?
That's really profound. Transparency is a desire, but safety isn't available.
Yeah. Because the culture of perfection is absolutely mandatory in some cultures. And so you can't, as much as we would love to say, that we can wear our humility card and our transparency card. But after I left, like, I lost so many friends. Like, out of just
I probably shouldn't have laughed at that. I'm just laughing because it's stupid. It's ridiculous. But okay, yeah, you lost friends because you were following your calling.
And people felt like I wasn't like, I had this one guy come up to me after I was gone for 7 years. He comes up to me and he's sitting behind me at the new church that we're going to, right? And he was one of my best friends at the time when we were at our old church, right?
Yeah.
And we finally get together for lunch. And I was like, dude, like, where did you go? Like, where did you go when I needed you the most, man? And his line to me was, bro, I had you into my home and you never told me what you were going through. Like, that's real, right?
That's real. I say that you can only be as powerful as you're willing to be vulnerable. You know,
Yep.
One of my mentors, I'll never forget, I was asking for some accountability for something I was wrestling with. And I was just like, man, please hold me accountable. Like, I'm really trying to do this. I don't want to play. Like, God's dealing with me, this area of my life. And then I'll never forget what he said to me. He said, cool, Darryll, I'm happy to hold you accountable. But I can only hold you accountable to the degree to which you're willing to be vulnerable. In other words, I can't see what you won't tell me.
Absolutely.
And that's what you're describing right there.
Yep. And that's where, so when you have your finances, your relationships, your position, your spiritual accountability, your spiritual community, when you have all these things wrapped up in one singular thing, you take one brick out of that wall, the whole thing's going to go down. And I think that's why a lot of people, you get so scared to go, you know what? I can't do this on my own, and there's only so much praying that you can do in those seasons, right? You really, really need to be able to have a safe, trusted advocate group or a community that you can get with to be able to say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm walking through. And for you to be able to have some clear next steps to be able to gather it. I remember when I told one of my mentors, I said, I think I'm going to resign. I think I'm going to get out. And he said to me, he goes, Michael, you're the executive pastor in one of America's fastest growing churches. Executive pastors who leave fast growing churches never leave well.
Never come back. Jeez.
He's like, so be careful, take that into consideration. Not proud of how I ended. It was embarrassing. It was humiliating. And the big, I went from in December of 2017, I went from leading worship on the stage for Christmas Eve services with thousands upon thousands of people to selling cars within 2 weeks.
What was that like emotionally?
It was the first job interview I'd ever gone to in my adult life. But I knew, it's like, here's another John Maxwellism, is that people will never embrace change until the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. Right? And I was at that place to where I'm just like I had an opportunity. I was asked to stay. I was asked to kind of walk through a process. And I wasn't even afraid of the process. I was like, hey, let's go through the process. I want to find wholeness. I want to find that manifest presence of God back in my life on a day-to-day basis. I want to experience that again. But the one thing that I know without a shadow of a doubt is that if I stay here, I'm ignoring what my heart's been telling me for a long, long time. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the Holy Spirit's was like whispering to me for a long time, like you were created for something different.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Dude, you're getting me, man. I'm trying to get my personal thing. And actually, I want to get into the corporate stuff, but this is definitely like touching on a spot for me because I'm like, I went through something very similar. And for me, I'll never forget, like, I'm sitting here talking to, and I get it, to the church's defense where I was at, we left like in the middle of the pandemic. And, you know, I could go on my own little tangent around why, but you know, many people there felt like that was like the worst time, almost like I quit on the team. But a big part of the reason why is because I was being called to more and had been for years. I was just hanging on, trying to help this culture that wasn't functioning in the ways that, you know, we probably function as entrepreneurs. And so there was a lot of things. And so, you know, one of the words I got was that, Darryll, you've been growing the church from the inside out. I'm calling you to grow it from the outside in. And it was just, that was what, you know, pivoted me to exit and transition. And I started to see something that when I was in the church, I was executive pastor of outreach and discipleship. I was inside the church and I was going out and I was asking everybody that I was going out to come in here. Mm-hmm. And what it was creating is when I was meeting true, what do you call people that are not saved yet? Unbelievers. Yeah. When you mean true people that you're trying to reach, right?
Yeah.
What would happen is I was talking to them, and then I would feel like I have a bias to what I'm referring them to. They live an hour and 30 minutes from here, and I'm still like, come to us. I'm like, you could go to a good church that's 20 minutes from you that's just as good. Mm-hmm. But in our minds, we're the best, right?
Absolutely.
And I never was okay with that. And so anyways, I was always doing that. And then I realized that the moment I had transitioned, now guess what was happening? I was going out, and then instead of just like one funnel, which was very low converting, come to this one place with this one flavor because it's the best, even though it's way far from you. Okay? Versus, where's God calling you to go? And now I could go here, go here, go here, go here, go here, but wherever you go somewhere. And I saw that I was reaching far more people that way because I'm going into all of the world. And instead of saying come to one, I was like, go to where the discipleship is happening near you. And it was way more effective. And so the reach was thousands compared to hundreds, like tens of thousands compared to hundreds, low hundreds. And I'm showing somebody from our staff this picture, and I'm saying, look at this. When I was in church, I drew a circle. It was a small circle. This is the people I reach. Now I'm out here. Look at the people I'm reaching. And I thought that it was going to be, we didn't think about it that way. We didn't see it that way. You're right. That's not what I got.
Yep.
All I got was, I can't even remember. Because it was so not it was so not like, that's awesome. You're reaching people. They're reaching so many more people that we can't even reach. Yeah. It wasn't that. No. It was like, still doesn't make sense of why you're doing that thing and you're chasing money.
Yeah. You know, and it's because there's two types of leaders in the church world. And not to oversimplify this, mm-hmm. but you're either a brand builder or you're a kingdom builder, but you cannot be both. Right? I mean, let that sink in just a little bit because you've worked with both. And don't get me wrong. I
will say, if I was being devil's advocate, I could argue that the kingdom is a brand. It is a brand. Like you run an organization, you have to have a brand. So I agree. But in terms of functionality, I would say, yes, there's an intention there that's like, oh, it's all about our brand versus an intention where it's all about the kingdom. It's totally different in culture and what they create. But even kingdom is a brand, right? Think of like Miles, what's that guy? Dr. Miles, who passed away? Miles Monroe? Miles Monroe passed away. He was all about kingdom. It was a brand. People knew him. Like every time kingdom comes up, I think Miles Monroe.
I understand what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying? And so it's still a brand in my mind.
Conceptually, though, it's really about the alignment of the heart.
I agree.
You know,
I
it's
agree.
like, do you care about seeing people's lives impacted regardless of where they land?
Yeah.
Or do you care about how your name looks on a bumper sticker that's going to go down the street on somebody's car?
There you go.
And don't get me wrong, like, in order for you, sometimes for you to be effective, like in kingdom work, you better care about your brand a little bit. But you can't care more about that than souls.
I agree.
And I think that's why the church has a massive credibility issue right now, and that's why you have so many massive global failures happening within the Christian community. It's because somewhere like our eyes started looking at other things that had nothing to do with Jesus. You know, and even when I'm like, I don't really talk about my faith tons in my coaching, regardless of whether it's an entrepreneur or a bigger team that I'm working with, because I don't have to. Like, everything that I do points to high levels of authentic care for a person's being and their soul. I've probably done more pastoral work. You've been in that space, right?
I agree. Say it. Done much more pastoral work.
I've done more. Well, I actually said this just the other day. I have done more pastoral work in my last 10 days than I did in 10 years at my last church.
Okay, quantify that. Are you being extreme for headlines, or can you quantify it?
I can quantify it.
Okay, so how would you quantify it?
2:00 in the morning, you get a phone call from a guy that's literally thinking about putting a gun to his head. He's looking at the financial P&Ls, and he doesn't even know like where to go and who to call, but he calls his coach. Why? It's because I've created that safe place for transparency.
Yep.
Right? I've seen marriages restored.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen fathers come back to being fathers of their kids.
I agree.
You know, is because somewhere in the middle of it, we make things the main thing that were never intended to be the main thing. And I think our work that we do with executives is to consistently point people to look in the right direction.
Totally. Yep.
So good, right?
So good. Okay, let's get into some more executives. So, okay, you're in the church. Give us a 30-second version of the leap from I transitioned from the church to I'm now coaching executives in Fortune 500 companies and all this other stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, thankfully, because I was already on stages speaking and working with and coaching other pastors and other leaders in other organizations, it can't happen really organically. So, I mean, like while I was I went from selling cars, got promoted to being a finance manager within a dealership, and at the same time, like I'm still coaching some of the country's biggest church pastors in between car deals. Right. And so I'm scheduling coaching calls, and my promise to myself was that I wasn't going to step away from the car dealership until my income matched at least. Right. So I went and I hired a coach, and Angus Nelson was my first executive coach that I hired.
Shout out Angus, baby.
And so we developed the team's methodology from ground one. So we're going all the way back to like 2018.
Okay.
Right. And I knew that as I was stepping through the right doors in the right spaces and speaking the right things, I knew that as long as my messaging was on point and I didn't look like a rookie from day one, you know, and that's the thing is like my first Fortune 500 contract that I got, the first thing that I did is I went out and hired myself a media director. That was the first thing I did. I was just like, okay, great. I'm transitioning away, which by the way, like I went from making, you know, I don't know, maybe a couple $100,000 a year, you know, 3 or 4 exit within 18 months.
What would you attribute? Like, what were the 3, 4 key pivots? What would you attribute to?
Mindset.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Duh.
And
anything specific though? Can we pinpoint? Because for me, mindset is such a big category. I like to speak to specific thoughts. So give me some of those like things that, to me, a mindset is a tape that's continually playing through our mind. And so, what was some of those things that were continue playing through your mind that helped you to be able to 2 to 3x?
Well, it started to be the idea that number one, can I do it? Should I do it? Is this for me?
Okay.
And understanding what was possible and what could I do on my own. So like a really quick hack that I learned early on was recognizing that my best clients always came from my best clients.
Yeah.
Right?
That makes sense.
So I went and I built a referral engine into my contract system. Instead of me spending tons of money on marketing and advertising, I just basically was, so if a contract came in and say, okay, great, a one-on-one with Michael is going to be about $5,000 a month. I sent him over a contract. They gave him an option to pay me $3,500 a month. with them to be able to sign something actually in the contract system that said, hey, if you're happy with the services that you're getting, Michael's willing to pay you on the front side of this for your referral.
Yep.
So you'll send me one contact per month if you love what's happening within your world. Pretty simple. And so my lead gen system came from a very friendly referral-based system.
Okay.
Now, once I worked out with, now understanding this is that a combination of the studies that I did in my master's program for becoming a certified executive coach, combined with what I was doing with Angus and other executive coaches I was working for, we really got our methodology down. And here's the thing is that there's nothing that's better for the coaching industry than results.
Yep.
Nothing. And I think that that's where it's like you and I, we've talked a little bit about this, but the future of where we're going right now is the coaches that will be able to optimize relationships, optimize culture, optimize community. Those are the ones that are going to survive.
Yep.
The ones that can provide results and create a bespoke type of experience from people hanging out with us one-on-one, right? How do I get in the room with Darryll, right? Like that's the line that's going to be wrapped up around the block. It's not going to be, how can I buy your AI-driven program? That's not the future.
I agree.
And so I think all those things, you know, creating really, really great content, shifting the mindset of my company to be a media company first, instead of just being a coaching company.
Okay. What made you make that determination?
I've heard some people talking about it, but as I started, I was really more watching it happen around me.
Okay.
When I was looking at companies like who are the best thought leaders, you know, because I'm a fan of like probably the same guys like you are, like Patrick Lencioni.
I like Patrick.
John Maxwell.
Jay.
Simon Sinek.
Simon.
Right? Gary Vaynerchuk.
Okay.
Right? I'm just noticing like they're doing a really, really great job of like figuring out how to like make their life visible. And that's where I mean, I'm still like a work in progress on it, but we started this. That's why I hired that media director with my first retainer, was like going, okay, I can't do this on my own. I don't want to do it on my own, but I need to make this shift in order for me to make a greater impact. And I want to do it well. I don't, because I have a music and production background, for me, I'd always kind of considered if it isn't done with excellence, it doesn't count. And so even in my keynotes, like my primary objective is to make people feel something.
Yep. People don't move unless they're moved emotionally.
Yeah, I don't need to sell anything. Like if you come to one of my keynotes, you'll notice this. I don't sell a thing. I just want a high five. I just want a moment that I know like somewhere we connected, and I want proof that you're alive, you know? And it's pretty miraculous.
It's good. Talk about some of the insights in scaling culture, growing businesses, like some of this work you've done for executives. What do you feel like is the most common mistakes that high-level leaders are making, and how can they avoid them?
So the biggest mistake I think people make is that, just like you and I, we wake up in the morning and we grab the iPhone or the phone. Maybe even before your feet hit the side of the bed. Right?
It is my alarm, though. I will say that.
Okay, well, that's fair.
Yeah.
But I think we immediately start looking at our calendar. Okay, what is all the stuff that we need to do today? We start off in strategy mode. We start off in the mode of like, okay, what are all the things that I need to do today? Why is that? It's because there's a dopamine rush that comes to executing things. Okay? But here's the pain point, is that there's nothing more painful than having your calendar full but not moving the needle.
They're right. Spinning them wheels and wondering, I'm doing all the things. Why is it not working?
Yeah, and the reason why it isn't working is because your strategy, it's not connected to the vision that you're created for.
But it feels like it is, and I'm doing the things. I'm on the sales calls. I'm on the discovery call. I'm doing the marketing. I'm doing the posts.
Yeah.
But I'm in it. I'm so ingrained in it, and I haven't paused and breathed enough. So you're saying that one of the things is just to not go to technology first, take a moment and breathe and think. Is that the opposite?
I would say this. Rather than focusing on your to-do list, focus on your to-be list.
Love that.
Right? Because when we think about it through this perspective, right? So we start off with identity and mindset. It's like, who am I? What do I do? What do I do better than most people? What do I want to be known for? How do I want to make people feel? Those are valuable questions, right? Okay, I want to nail that. I want to nail that without a shadow of a doubt. I want to be able to have those answers at the tip of my tongue, at the bottom of, top of my heart all the time. And then I go into vision. Okay, great. What am I building? What do we want this thing in the next 3 to 5 years to look like? And what am I actually committed to making sure that I'm moving the needle on those things?
Yeah.
Then I talk about structure.
Okay.
Who's around me? Who's with me? Who do I need to have in order for me to execute that vision? Then I start thinking strategy.
Yeah.
Don't you dare start thinking about strategy before you start thinking about who's with you. Because all you're doing is creating a burnout machine.
I know. And it's so tempting because it's so easy just to do it yourself. It's just,
yeah.
By the time I send a message and tell them what to do, I could have just did it by then. And you're right. But the problem is that if you continue to live that way, it's always a carrot that you never catch. And now you've done that for weeks and then for months. And all of a sudden you just have never taken the break. You've never delegated the project. You keep being the hero. And you'll be surprised around how much better people would do if you just gave them the opportunity. And people rise to the occasion. I think sometimes we forget about that. And I learned that in church culture because a church is a masterclass in leadership.
It is, and people take it for granted.
Free volunteers is hard to get to show up, but man, the ones that can multiply themselves. So, totally. What else is on your heart, man?
Well, even just going back to the thinking about the scalable side of what we do. This does not matter whether you are a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, or whether you're serving on the executive team of a larger company, right? The only currency that matters in 2025 is autonomy and speed. And I will argue until I'm blue in the face to show you that there is no other proof when it comes to how people are making decisions. You as a leader, autonomy and speed. How fast do you go and can you do it on your own? This is a big deal. And so I'll lead into this idea. And you'll hear me talking about this all the time because but there's a couple different types of leaders that's serving on teams. One is a blueprint leader and one is a framework person.
Okay.
Right? Framework type of leaders are the types of leaders. I call them like win the game players.
Okay.
They're the type of person that you can bring into your office and you say, hey, I don't care how you get me there. Just get me there.
That's me.
Okay. Right. Okay. You're a framework person. You can figure it out as you go. No one has to give you a play-by-play instruction manual on how to execute. Right.
No.
Okay.
Just put me in the game, coach.
That's exactly right. But you know what's going to burn you out though?
Not having a blueprint.
No, because you can build it.
Okay.
You can come up with your own blueprint.
Okay. Then what's going to burn me
That's
out?
fair, right though?
Yeah.
Okay. If I give you a bunch of blueprint leaders to have on your team that are 100% required to have a blueprint for everything that they do.
Oh God, I die. This just made me irritated thinking about it.
Yeah. So that's the thing is that blueprint people, again, they're really like, I have blueprint people on my team and they're amazing for compliance.
Yes.
They're great for administrative tasks.
Yes.
And as long as I've created the blueprint and as long as they can stay within the space, but once something goes off the track or off the grid, it's going to require me to step in and fix it.
Can you take someone from blueprint to leader or what'd you call it?
Blueprint and framework.
Okay. Can you take someone from blueprint to framework, or is that like not, are they always a blueprint person?
I've seen variances, like if there's a reason why they're a blueprint because they might have came from a micromanaged subculture somewhere in which they were never given permission to actually think for themselves.
Yeah.
I've seen people like grow out of that and turn into a framework person, right?
Yeah.
So you have to have a little bit of grace to figure that out. But more times than not, I would say 80% of the time, if you treat a framework person like they're...
Why are you calling it framework? The framework word is throwing me off. Why are you calling it framework? Because when I hear framework, I think like a framework, like, what's a framework? Like the 5 love languages is a framework.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the blueprints fit inside the framework.
Okay.
And so the framework is literally just kind of like this exoskeleton.
Okay.
It's just there. Like, so a framework person can just draw like a specific line from point A to point Z.
Okay.
And
so you're just giving them enough of a frame for them
absolutely.
to work.
I'm going to give them a lane to run in.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not going to give them, carte blanche to do whatever the heck they want to do.
Okay.
But But a blueprint person
Yeah.
is somebody who needs to have a step-by-step instruction manual to execute anything.
Oh God, no.
And and again, but check this out, right?
Yeah.
And you get this. So as a framework person, if I treated you like you were a blueprint person, but you're an actually framework person, you're going to feel disrespected. You're going to feel micromanaged, and you're going to get frustrated. You're going to feel like your hands are tied. You're like, oh man, just put me in the game. Let's go, right? But in the same way, if you treat a blueprint person like they're a framework person,
they're gonna think they're gonna think that they are not good enough.
Absolutely, man. It's self-destruction 101. They're going to feel overwhelmed.
Yep.
They're going to feel exhausted.
Yep.
And they're going to be really hard on themselves.
Yep.
And so one of the ways that we quickly try to avoid burnout with our executive teams is just making sure that they're fully aware of how powerful their structure can be and making sure they have the right people in the right seats with clear expectations. And, even just kind of like going back to what you were talking about before is like, if I can find somebody that can do something 50% as well as I can do it, I'm going to give it to them. And I'm going to let them rise to the occasion.
Yep. Yep. What this is good. To me, it's very, say success leaves clues. Every high level person is doing something that low level people are not. It's very obvious. And I'll never forget, like I learned this in sports. And I think I always had this mentality. My father was like this, but it was HD for me. You know how like some things are like, I get it, but I don't really like so get it until like I go through a life experience. And like, there was this moment where I recognized, hold on, what we're talking about again? Bring me back. I'm losing my rabbit.
Blueprint, framework.
Before then.
50% as good as I can do it. And then I'm going to just give it to them, rise to the occasion.
I'm talking about leaders. Okay, yeah. I'm talking about leaders and recognize success leaves clues in excellence.
Yes.
And everyone I was a freshman on a Division I football team, Coach Brooks Jones. We're doing this crucible week. They literally call it that because you're doing 10 sets of 10 of everything. 10 sets of 10 of squat, 10 sets of 10 of arm curls, 10 sets of 10 of leg press. Like it is designed to crucify you.
Come on.
And so everyone's complaining. I'm a freshman. Okay, everyone's complaining, freshmen all the way up to seniors because they're killing us, right? But I had this moment where I was like, I wonder, everybody here wants to go to the NFL. And I wonder if someone who's an NFL athlete was doing this workout, if they would be complaining like we are right now. Or is this normal at the next level? And so if the pain is normal at the next level, can I normalize the pain now? Because if I want to be there, I should be ready here. And so it was a moment for me of realizing like I can actually I got to change my tolerance level for what I'm saying is possible, impossible, outside of my reach. Like, no, I got to normalize tomorrow's pain today, because if I'm equipped to handle these levels of problems, then of course the next level is inevitable, right? Because I'm passing the test of, can I solve more difficult problems of the day? And so like when I hear that for me, I'm like, man, it's so important for people to look at, man, what is the next level? And would somebody that's a next level executive complain about the problems that I'm complaining about? Because maybe there's a different way, a different perspective at looking at my current level of problems. And maybe if I just think differently, then the problem that I think that I'm facing today, I actually realize that I can have a different perspective that expands my solution to be bigger than the size of the problem.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, totally. Totally, man. So anyways, just a thought. What are your thoughts on that?
I think you're right on 100%. I think that so many times that we find ourselves in those situations where we don't necessarily know how to like step into it, you know, and you start feeling that pain. But I think culture tries to normalize us to accept like whatever environment that we're in as the new normal, instead of it was natural for you to be able to think about, okay, if the NFL is experiencing this level of pain, then I need to normalize that for today. But culture around us wants us to accept this as the normal.
They do.
And like this actually just happened within the last couple months to me. And I totally failed. I totally blew it. And I feel bad about it now, but then I had an aha moment of like going, why is this like why am I having such like there's a misalignment here? And I don't know why, right? So long story short, what had happened is that I had this guy a couple times a month. We host this small group for business leaders, and you could go to our church, you go to other churches in the city or whatever. But it's just basically like, hey, if you want community, come to my house. My wife and I are going to cook good food, and we're probably going to talk about spiritual things, and it'll be a good hang, right? So anyway, this guy was coming to. He was a member of he goes to our church, and he just started. I texted him like, hey, just to check in, like, hey, how you doing? Crickets. 2 weeks later, I text him again. Hey man, how you doing? Crickets. This went on for 2 months, to where there was no response, right? And it's maybe 5 or 6 different text messages over that period of time of me just trying to reach out to this guy. Well, I'm at church on a Sunday morning. I'm serving on the worship team, and I turn around and he's like right there, like face to face, but he's having a different conversation with somebody else, right? And so, like, if you're in that situation, you turn around, and you saw him there, what would you say to him?
I would just ask questions. How's it going? What can I do?
Yeah, I like it. So I turned around, and I was like, bro, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, what's up? I was like, I don't know. Been trying to reach you for a couple months. Like, you you had dinner with me at my house, and I was just checking in to see if you're doing okay. And his response was, hey man, no offense, but I don't owe you a response.
Okay.
I was super offended. I was like, are you kidding me? And so like inside my heart, I was like, dude, this guy's being a total jerk to me right now for no reason at all. So I got frustrated. I tried to help him reframe so he could see why I was frustrated, but he didn't, he just didn't care. He was like, the guy's a lawyer, so like he's good at being emotionally disconnected from his behavior, one of those guys. And and so I was like, but I had a really rough time of it. Well, and then I just had this aha moment the other day. I'm like kind of rethinking this situation because like I have to talk to him, and I'm like, the reason why, like, everything about my current situation, because coming from a ministry background, NFL, like the level of which we looked at communication, the level at which we operated, it was NFL level normalization, right? Well, where we're at now today, especially because I'm not on staff, I just kind of volunteer leadership role. It's like down here. And so the level of normalization was like, to where before it'd be like, if I texted somebody that was on my team, they're going to get back to me probably within 5 minutes. So communication was like a really big value, right? But for him, it's like, in the culture where we're at today, was just kind of like, bro, I don't know your response, man. And I'm like, so I got frustrated because I'm still up here. You know what I mean? So I think that it was good, like with your analogy, it was just like, don't allow the world around you to dictate what's normal.
Yep.
Like, you have to be able to see.
You do.
So, because like vision is like what we see, right? But the vision for who you are and the type of impact that you make also has how you can actually visualize your behaviors in the next level. Your decisions at the next level. Like, how do you live there, right?
Totally. A couple more questions and we'll land a plane here. I love to ask this to coaches because there's something to be said about the repetition of continually giving people advice. And I know that from coaching lots of people, you can see so many patterns in human behavior because you'll give 2 different people the same advice and have 2 different results because one person actually follows through and has a mindset of success or whatever, and the other person doesn't, and it shows, and blah, 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 blah. And so I love this question of like, what do you find yourself saying over and over again to your clients that you wish they would get more? Like, they just don't understand it. They just got this one thing, how much more that would be transformative. What's that thing for you that you find yourself saying over and over and over again?
I think the shift that's happening today, like this is probably within the last couple of years, well, first and foremost, going back when I first started executive coaching, the idea of like actually embracing a personal brand within some of these bigger companies, it was almost not allowed.
Oh yeah. And there's still a big culture that's like, no way are you gonna go out and build your personal brand, which is so stupid and behind the times. But still, they're like, it divides your focus. You're more focused on that than you are our company, and they just don't get it. But
and some people are still like that. And then there's others that are starting to realize, like the bigger players, they're starting to realize, oh, wait a minute here. Like if our CEO actually is known for something outside of these four walls, the valuation of our company skyrockets.
It does. Yep.
Right.
Every time.
And so it's the same thing. Like I was on a coaching call with a solar company from Southern California earlier today. And his disruptive personal brand is taking off. It literally, the thing that I've been coaching these guys on for the last year, all of a sudden it's starting to get feet. And it's amazing. It's amazing. And I'm starting to see a guy, he's now starting talking about, he's like, I'm going to write a book.
Nice.
You know, I'm going to pop on these podcasts. I'm going to do this to be able to, because he's starting to understand something is that, yeah, you can lead your company, but what happens if you can actually start influencing a whole freaking industry?
Right.
Come on, man. That's what I'm talking about, is unleashing potential within people.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's what we do. Like I tell people this all the time, is especially when it comes to executive coaching, right? Just like Olympic athletes hire coaches to help them break world records.
Yep.
Executive coaches should be doing the exact same thing for businesses.
I agree.
And the problem is that a lot of the methodologies that are taught around executive coaching teach you how to be basically a really low-level therapist instead of a high-level execution beast, right?
Now, I will say this. Like, if we want to do this, we can do this. Because I've been waiting to do a segment on one of these podcasts with a coach.
Well, am I wrong, though?
Dude, you're not wrong. But here's the thing. Here's the segment I want to do, and maybe it's not the time. I just want to have the high-ticket conversation with coaches who get it. And I probably want to do 4 people to get like a big brawl of opinions going.
Yeah.
Because I already know that there's people that stand on both sides of the fence. There's the coaches that say, well, actually, it's the implementation of the person and how they're showing up. And then there's the people who are hiring the coaches that say, well, it's them and what they're not providing, and And there's always this clash. Because I can argue that I've actually said this to clients before. I say, hey, like, we've got to have some more strategy conversations here, or else I become a very expensive therapy bill for you. And I'm happy to walk you through all of that and hold space for all of that. Because if you can eliminate someone's resistance or psychological limiting belief to something, it is very transformative. It can grow 100%. Your bottom line a lot. So I'm all for the mindset conversation, the emotional conversation, but not when it's not from an empowered performance. I hate to use that word, but performance-driven place, because it will be an expensive therapy field if we don't. So,
you have to have both.
Yeah.
You have to have both.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is that, like, don't get me wrong, like, I am all about like the right mindset, the right vision, the right empowerment. I'm all about those plays. But the reality is this, though, is that, okay, you're an athlete, okay? And so athletes understand this. Like the athletes that I've coached have been some of my favorite clients in the world.
I've been debating on years if I want to just coach just athletes, but yeah.
It is a needed, and it's a highly, the ROI on coaching an athlete is incredibly high. And the reason is because they get the idea of this. If I'm going to go in and play a game, and they know who my opponent is, and they know how to play the game, and they know what it's going to take in order for me to win this frickin' game, then I'm going to hire them so they can tell me how to win the game. And I think a lot of times, like we just simply, I bump into executives day in and day out to where they just simply didn't have the pedigree or the talent or the charisma or the character to be able to win the game in the first place. And so now we have to build all that up. And then it's like, but once we do,
game over.
Come on.
Game over.
Let's rock, man. And I think that's where, but a lot of people aren't trained on both sides of the fence. Don't get me wrong. Like, I am amazing at asking questions and listening. Like ICF certification stuff all day long. I can check those boxes. But the reason why companies aren't willing to pay for that is because they've hired highly capable people that just don't simply need to have a therapy partner.
I agree. I'm just letting it land for people. And the worst part is low-level therapists too. I mean, I would say I'm a high-level therapist, right? Like I literally say I'm an expensive therapy bill if you don't ask me business questions.
Yeah.
But some people are low-level therapists. They're not even helping enough on the emotional landscape because they don't even have enough, somatic release or emotional processing or counseling of their own to really even adequately lead somebody through that inner place of themselves. Like they're just
100%.
giving you, they're trying to like out mindset trauma that they should be helping you have more conscious practice around, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And here's the thing is that you really want to be able to unlock that trauma.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be able to get your client to a vulnerable place,
Mm-hmm.
help them have their first win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like bring something strategically to the table
Mm-hmm.
so they can actually prove to themselves,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you do got something in the tank.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, cool. Now let's talk.
That's that John Maxwell 5 levels of leadership, baby.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Yep. That's that move. It's like you're only on the permission level. You got to get to production.
Yep.
Yeah. Like people want to respect the results, not just the fact that you're a nice human. Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
That's so good.
Oh, yeah. Jay Maxwell, man. Got to give him credit. Beautiful. I want to just ask this, and then I'll ask you what I ask everybody about seeding greatness. But keynote-wise, what do you usually share keynote-wise?
My favorite things, right? I mean, I have a couple that are just that are pretty interesting ear candy type things. Like I have one that's called "Why 360-Degree Reviews Don't Work."
Okay, yeah, I get that.
And so it's fun, but it's like now to everybody listening is like
this is good. I can argue how to make them work though.
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
Work for
And
me.
because I play both sides of the fence.
Okay,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
a
But
little,
you're telling them why it don't work. Is it because of the vulnerable thing and trust and why don't they work?
well, I would say yes to that, but I
Okay.
also like to go to the idea that do you know the origination of the 360?
I don't.
It comes from Nazi Germany, so that makes for an incredibly fun and interesting conversation.
Oh, does it? Really?
Yeah, it does. It actually comes from Nazi Germany, from the military form of how they give feedback and how they give analysis. And
Look at that.
so verifiable. I can send you
wow.
a link to check it out.
I
But
would
it's
love to
super
check it
interesting.
out. Wow.
But my main two talks right now are dreaming through failure. And it's personal because like, what's the first thing to disappear when you experience failure?
Dream.
It's your ability to dream, and it's so necessary. So talk about, the 5 to 7 things that are absolutely essential for you to reignite your dream engine. And then the one that I've been doing lately, that's just a blast, is called The Power of Nope. And, and I think because the hardest thing for people to say no to, well, first of all, I want your no to be powerful, right? I want you to know why you're saying no to something. But a lot of times leaders fail because they don't say no to the thing that's secretly destroying them because they actually love doing it.
They love doing it. Oh my God, you gotta say that again, bro.
So so leaders don't say no to the things that they love doing that's secretly destroying them. But once you recognize this and once you see it, I'm telling you, there's a next level unlock.
I know. Dude, that's so good.
And
bro.
we're not talking about like, secret addictions or anything like that. I mean, we're talking about tangible things that exist in the lives of leaders every single day. Like, for example, I have the CEO of a company who honestly believes in his head that because he has a marketing background, that he is the best marketer in his company. So he won't stay outside of the marketing
He's
room.
probably messing it up. Yeah.
He's getting in there and he's like, I'm like, yeah, but if so once he actually figured out like, oh man, if I took that energy and I actually deployed it here, it was like next level unlock. But I had to get him to say, I had to get him to the point to where he recognized like, I need to say no to the things that I love, but that are secretly destroying me.
This is so good. I did a relationship audit at the end of last year, and I do every year, but I did it again last year, and it was one of the most painful ones I did because so the relational audit, as I look at the people that I spend the most time with and just assess it, right?
Yep, absolutely.
And if you we know you're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. We know all of that stuff. I teach this stuff. We all know it, right?
Yeah.
The importance of who you're surrounding yourself with, time management, energy management. We all know this game, okay? But I'm looking at my relationships and I'm looking at my calendar and I'm looking at my cell phone records to see who I'm spending the most time with and where and why. And is that the most effective use of my time? And dude, it was so painfully obvious. I gave more time far more time, like 60 to 70% of my time was being spent with people, the clients that were struggling the most, complaining the most, the taking the least amount of action, but somehow have the most amount of question. And I spent more time with them than I did my friends who were sending me $100,000 of business and referral. And I was like, oh, shame on you. You know better. It was, I look at the paper and I'm like, so true, and then I just thought, I was like, what would have happened if I would have just flipped that equation? But here's, to your point, this is why I'm saying this, here, to your point, why was I doing that? Because I felt so much more validated when I helped the struggling than when I'm talking to my friends who are crushing. They don't really need me. They're going, they're running. They just hit me up when you need me. But these people need me. Yeah. But what would happen if I would deepen the relationship with less needy? Could that change my results, my quality of life, my emotional health? The answer is yes. But I tell you what, the process from last November to this July, it's been like weaning a child off of breastfeeding.
Absolutely, man. That's the power of nope right there, though, bro. I mean, seriously. And I struggle with it too, man. The exact same thing. Like I want. You heard my bio. Like I'm a massive Superman fan. Dude, I'm telling you, like I think I would look amazing in a cape. You know what I'm saying, though?
I don't want to hurt your feelings, bro, but don't wear no cape no time soon, man.
I'm working on it.
Zach can do a cape. You need more than that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm not talking run around, buck naked with just a cape on.
Oh, that's what I thought you were talking.
No.
I don't want to lie to you on my podcast. You got to put on more than the cape, bro.
Oh, is this a video podcast too? I'm just messing with you.
It's all good. So anyways, I don't know how we got there, but how do we land this plane here, man? Here, let me ask you a serious question, okay? But no. Before I do that, because I did want to ask you about the first keynote, the failing, dreaming while failing, and we got to hit it quick.
Yeah.
But you said the first thing to go when you hit hardship is the willingness and the ability to dream. And not the ability, but probably the willingness to dream. And it reminded me of a scripture that always stuck with me, that hope deferred makes the heart sick. And for me, that's what I would attribute that to.
That's so good, man.
People,
that's right on. That's right in line.
People wait like so long. They have like this positive, okay, I'll hang in there. My dream's going to work. My business is going to work. My marriage is going to work. My life's going to work. I'll get the promotion. And after it not happening, hope deferred makes the heart sick. I mean, dude, what do you do if you're at that place?
Well, I don't know what you do, but I know what I did,
What'd you do?
And the first thing is I embraced reality.
Okay. Like
this is the moment. This is where I'm at today. The second thing is I started looking for the spark. Okay. I started looking for the bright light and determining how far away it was. And then the next thing I started to do was started to surround myself with people that can make that light a little bit bigger. And I started removing people from my life that made the darkness closer. Right? And I said that specifically in that order. I think sometimes just like when we as coaches, sometimes we gravitate towards the noisemakers. We gravitate towards the people that need us, but it doesn't necessarily mean those are the people that are going to like amplify us.
I agree, bro.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
And so it was amazing, like as I was kind of navigating through this process, because man, I went through like, that's a different podcast, but when you experience like the loss of hope, when you experience the loss of the ability to dream, the first thing that you need to be reminded of is like who you are, and then surround yourself with people that will never let you forget it.
No, this is good, man. It reminds me of a client of mine, Matt DeLong. ran a really successful like trading currency company, sold it, I think exited or something, but doing some other stuff now. But he same story. I forgot how many millions of dollars of credit card fraud his company got hacked for, and owed all their clientele millions of dollars for the fraudulent transactions that got stolen underneath their basically leadership. And his partners left him, and he wanted to stay on the ship to try to right it and not leave people in such dire situations. And it almost killed them, man. Just to try to like rebuild something with so much loss of credibility. And the first thing that went out the door was his ability to dream. And his TED talk, he talks about this very concept of like, it changed for him when he got around a guy who was doing triathlons and was like living this life. And that was a beginnings of him being like, well, I can do something that is outside of this normalcy of struggle in my culture and work right now. Cause I'm like, he's trying to rebuild it for years. And just that little bit of like, okay, I'll just go work and try to like build myself up for this marathon or triathlon. That dreaming of possibility expanded the mind in this area of health. And therefore it started to leak over into business. And then he started to see about the opportunities to give back. And long story short, obviously rebuilt the company, salvaged the reputation, actually ended up selling it for a really good exit. And like,
perfect,
like just the transformation of a human being, way more present. And then now as a dreamer again, all because he got around somebody who was living a dream. And so it's an important piece. It's an important piece.
It's huge. And even in those contexts, because if you think about it, right? So it's like, okay, great. Surround yourself with different people. Like get some of that, shake some of that junk loose, but surround yourself with the right people. But think about this though, right? The environments a lot of times that you're in, they want to remind you of your failure. And they want to hold you hostage to your past.
I know.
So find a different room, man. Just find a different room. And that's one of the hardest decisions you'll ever have to make, but it is such a necessary one.
It is.
And yeah, we can talk more about that later.
We can. I love to end with this question, man. What does seeding greatness mean to you?
Seeding greatness, legacy. Like I have 3 kids. Chloe's 19. She just finished up her freshman year at Doane University. She's an RA, resident assistant type thing. She's there on a full ride music scholarship because she's a kick butt drummer.
Awesome.
But she's going into aviation. She's gonna be a pilot.
Wow.
My middle daughter, her name's Amelia. She was just voted as the most improved senior for marching band this year. They just had her marching band camp. She's a percussionist.
Okay.
But she's dreaming big. Like,
What'd
it's
you
awesome.
play?
I'm a saxophonist.
Okay.
Yeah, and piano, guitar, singer-songwriter, all that stuff.
Okay.
But for her, like the conversations, I get to sit down now and go, okay, you get to go to any school you want to go to. Where do you want to go next year? Let's figure it out, But the ability, I feel like as a parent, like if you are able to lead your kids in a way to where you can say, hey, anything is possible, dream big, and you can make that the reality. For me, that's my metric of success with my kids.
I agree.
Yeah. And my son, he's 14 years old, and he's my little mini me. He's a saxophonist. He's a superhero nerd. We just went to Nebraska Comic-Con this last weekend, and it was awesome. But I remember when I stepped out of ministry, and I felt like that dark night of the soul, to where there's nothing around you, and you can't hear, you can't see, you have no idea, like what. You just lost your orientation, right? The only thing that I felt that I knew for sure is my true north was create a normative experience for your kids to thrive. And that was my why. Like I wasn't thinking about my career. I wasn't thinking about, but when you talk about seeding greatness, that was it.
That's beautiful, man. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Oh, man, this is epic, bro. Thank you for coming on. It's been a really amazing. Touched me in a lot of ways. So much more I could ask you. You're a depth of a man and a human being. And I love how you serve leaders, and I love how you lead your family. So thank you so much for serving us today.
No, man, thanks for having me on.
If people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
MichaelKingJr.com is my website, but make sure to follow me on LinkedIn and all the social channels.
Totally. My podcast audience would kill me if I didn't ask a singer if they would like to sing us a song as we exit.
No, I won't be singing today.
Come on, man. Oh, dang. Rick the Wealth Coach, where you at, man? Where you at? Y'all, we didn't get a song, but we definitely got strategy. And so now's your time to take just a moment to just pause. Maybe you gotta go rewind back and listen to some things and just find maybe one thing. What we learn in high performance, that minor tweaks help us to make major differences in our life. Sometimes it's just a 2% shift that can help you to lift the lid, to find a avenue of business that you didn't know that was there, to open up a pathway of healing that was available for you if you would have just leaned in. And we talked about a lot of that today. So find something and just say, man, how can I apply this? Maybe I need to schedule time to reflect. Maybe I need to schedule time to integrate. But whatever you can do, and share that with us, because we want to celebrate your action. Make sure you subscribe to wherever you see this, wherever you're watching. Share, don't be stingy. And man, until next time, keep seeding greatness.